15,000 hectares of maize need harvesting. How many forage harvesters do you think you'd need for that? For Osters Voß, the maize harvest season is by far the most stressful time of the year. With this fourth video, we continue our documentary series on one of Germany's best-known agricultural contractors and take you further behind the scenes. You'll also get an exclusive look at one of the most extensive fleet renewals in the company's history. Osters Voß's main site is located on the outskirts of the small village of Großgottschau in western Brandenburg. Several harvesting convoys are stationed here. Once the vehicles have been refueled and prepared, the harvesting teams head out on their assignments from 7 a.m. Today, Dennis and his colleagues are continuing the maize harvest for a new client. The contract covers 150 hectares, with 110 on this one enormous field. Come the 2026 season, all forage harvesters at Osters Voß will be fitted with near-infrared (NIR) sensors. Customers can request their crop composition data directly. Still, not all farms are making use of the information the chopper collects during harvesting, such as field-by-field yield data. There is still plenty of untapped potential in this area. This 8-meter wide flail mower from Saarburger is a relatively new addition to the lineup. Demand for maize stubble cultivation after harvest is growing again, as the European corn borer is becoming increasingly prevalent in the region and its larvae hibernate in the stubble. Several farms have switched entirely to direct sowing or use only very shallow tillage. These applications also benefit from running the mulcher after the maize harvest. By choosing a rear-mounted machine, Osters Voß ensure the tractor tires do not drive over the stubble beforehand. The Fendt 942 Vario was ordered with a reverse drive system, specifically for this type of work. Rick trained as an agricultural services specialist and has been with Osters Voß since 2018. Though these days he rarely gets behind the wheel of a tractor. At the Großgottschau site, Rick handles scheduling and advises customers on the services the company provides. Getting the most out of the harvesting teams during the maize harvest, while keeping customer requirements front and center, takes experience and a solid overview of the entire fleet. During the maize harvest, Osters Voß runs 11 of its own forage harvesters and coordinates 6 subcontractors who serve as peak period support on their behalf. But first, let's take a look at the other services keeping the agricultural contractors team busy through the autumn. For the sugar beet harvest, they rely on machinery from Holmer. In this case, a 9-row lifting unit. The T5 self-propelled harvesters operate as a convoy with at least one transport vehicle on almost every job. Customers often supply one or more tractor-trailer combinations themselves. In this farmer's case, the contractor brought a Tridem dumper. Sugar beet cultivation has deep roots in this region, but it is coming under increasing pressure. The nearest processing factory has scrapped cultivation quotas for Prignitz and Havelland districts simply because the plant is too far away. This means the agricultural contractor will lose a number of contracts in this area going forward. For 2026, the aim is to expand operations with both harvesters into Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania and Saxony-Anhalt. For our next footage, we take a closer look at the Jens agricultural shredder. In this typical job, manure is processed before being fed into a biogas plant. Inside the machine, a 530 horsepower engine drives the shredder, producing a very homogeneous, finely shredded mass that the bacteria inside the biogas plant can break down far more efficiently. The shorter material also prevents straw mats from forming, and the reduced straw content makes it easier to spread the digestate later on. Dominic, one of the company's employees, spends most of his time running this machine, which processes between 150 and 200 tons per hour through the shredder. From time to time, he also provides services for local councils, or shreds straw for use as bedding. The machine operates out of the Osters Voß site, with an identical unit stationed at Großgottschau. Osters Voß primarily operates across Brandenburg, Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, and Saxony-Anhalt. That said, machines such as the slurry agitators, which we introduced in Part 3, and the shredder are also out and about in other regions. For advice on services and contact details, visit the Osters Voß website. When it comes to maize harvesting, Osters Voß brings 35 years of experience to the field. It has been part of the company's service offering from day one. Alongside traditional silage maize, several forage harvesters are also deployed for grain maize and LKS here at Cobb Silage. Harvesting is part of the offering. For LKS harvesting, the forage harvester is fitted with an 8-row maize header, the same type used on combines during grain maize harvest. Only the energy-rich cobs, along with their husks, enter the chopping unit. The advantages of LKS are its higher energy density compared to conventional maize silage, along with intensive grain processing. The maize straw remains on the field, which also benefits humus formation. LKS harvesting is offered across all 4 Osters Voß agricultural branches. The following segment takes us to a location we visited before. Our next stop is Ruhr Agrar in Velo, Brandenburg. 6 years ago, we accompanied an Osters Voß harvesting convoy here during a whole crop silage harvest. This time, our focus is on digestate spreading. The 939 Vario runs paired with the 32 cubic meter Wienhof tanker throughout the entire season. Oliver is one of the contractor's dedicated drivers and spreads just over 100,000 cubic meters of digestate per year. Alongside the towed tanks, fitted in this case with a 36-meter drag hose, 4 Terra variant self-propelled slurry tankers are also in operation across the various Osters Voß sites. A front suction arm is used to keep filling operations efficient and to maintain maximum flexibility. The feeder trucks have proven their worth logistically, though it is ultimately the customer who decides whether they are permitted onto the field. The group is always looking for truck drivers and for staff in its freight forwarding division, Osters Voß Logistics. Unsolicited applications can be submitted via the website, where you will also find current job vacancies and training opportunities. You can follow Osters Voß on Instagram to keep up with the latest news. Our next stop takes us to Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, where we join another maize chopping operation. Near Friedland, a harvesting team is working for a large biogas plant. This job is coordinated by the Osters Voß branch in Leitzen. Here we have a Class Jaguar 960, fitted with a 12-row Orbis maize header. By Osters Voß harvest between 500 and 600 hectares per day. Forage harvester operator Chris is leading this particular job. Alongside several of the company's own transport tractor-trailer combinations, 2 subcontractors from the Netherlands are also providing support. Chris completed his training as an agricultural services specialist and is now in his 10th year with Osters Voß. Originally from Lower Saxony, he has since made Brandenburg his second home. At 653 horsepower, this is the most powerful forage harvester in the fleet. Though in recent years there have been repeated attempts to push performance even higher with more powerful machines. When it came to properly processing and compacting the enormous volumes of harvested forage at the silo, however, more power often proved counterproductive. The importance of a well-compacted silage clamp is something that customers themselves also recognize and value. When we wrapped up this video, we received details of one of the most extensive fleet renewals in the company's history. In the summer of 2026, 20 new Fendt tractors from the 700 and 900 Vario series will be put into service. 4 new Class Jaguar models, the 950 and 960. And 2 new Class Quadrant 5300 square balers are also due to arrive by then. 2 new rakes have already been partially delivered, one of which comes from Wusterberg, a partnership that Osters Voß plans to develop further in the coming years. Slurry tankers, precision seed drills and loaders have also been ordered. So it may not be long before this series continues with another episode. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to our channel.